although I am not planning to move anywhere, I'm living in the UK, this is my home. If I really had to move, if let's say all the natives decided, look, you're gonna have to go, mate, Alex, it's your last day tomorrow, out. What would I do? Where would I move? Where would I start if I had to start over in 2025? The general trend from you guys watching my videos and posting comments is to find the next hot country, which apparently Poland is one of them. And although I am Polish, I would not move to Poland, at least not long term. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to explain to you what would I do if I had to move, how I would look at this. And this is the experience I've learned over the years in business and in life. And it generally works. And it generally involves moving against what the general sentiment is, right? So my default advice for whoever thinking about moving is to actually think it through. Like, do not rush anything just because you had a few bad years. Because the real value of community, network, friends, family, knowing rules, customs, language is, especially in down times, it's priceless in my opinion. Imagine this: if you, as we can see, right, everything is going kind of down, at least in the West, and then you think you're going to move from one country going down to another one which is going down now or is about to go down. As a newcomer, natives won't have time for you, right? At the very best. Worst case scenario, they're just going to hate you. Like we see it in the Western countries for immigrants, some of them. So if you move to, let's say you move from England to Poland, people, as long as there's good times, then people will integrate, people will be friends, will start, they will want to learn more about you and all that. But when things go bad, and I'll tell you why I think they will, people are just too busy worrying about themselves, about their own families. The last thing they want to worry about is as a newcomer, who can't speak language, who doesn't understand how to go around, none of it, right? So if you move out from your country to another one in the wrong time, you can actually make a really worse decision in your life. And it's going to last for many years until probably you're going to feel like actually fit in, because you're going to feel like real outsider and you're going to have to take burden of it, right? You and maybe your family. So think it through. But I will walk you through how I would approach that if I really had to move out, and how I would choose the place for me to moving, right? And normally it's not what you guys think. And moving is more often emotional, not strategic, right? So I would say in business, in life, say we are moving. Emotions are not a good advisor. It's good to listen to your gut and stuff, but you have to lots of experience in listening to your gut. If you're not experienced in listening to your gut, you're listening to your emotions, and then the emotions are going to just steer you probably some places you shouldn't be, okay? Because that's how our emotions, go to the power. That's why you go to the power, you do stupid things. People drink alcohol, they say stupid things. Like, that's all emotions, right? We shouldn't be controlled by our emotions, and that comes with the age and with experience, life experience, where if we are more just calm, we can navigate life more calmly, right? And I have some notes with me here because it's an important topic, so I don't want to miss anything. And the hidden cost of moving out to another country is rarely discussed by anyone. And like I mentioned, this is about community and network. When things go wrong, if you have your network, your family, your friends, the sun is coming, you can actually get out there and get some help, ask for help, right? If you don't know anyone, it's very hard. And you're actually adding on problems to others, and they will just escalate and people will get annoyed. We don't want that. You don't want that, trust me, right? So it's better to stay a little bit poor around your poor friends and family rather than just being, hey, I'm better off with people who have nothing to do with you. But again, I'll tell you more about this. About moving out, the emotions and strategic. I think the first thing should be, moving out is not a simple task, and it's not something you can do like every year, right? Ideally, unless you're like a digital nomad or something. So it should be more strategic approach. It should be more planned, and especially long term. You shouldn't be thinking about what is this now. Like people telling me move to Poland because Poland is great. Well, Poland is great now, today, but is it going to be great in 6 months, 12 months, or 24 months? By the time when I actually settle down, where I'll be ready to start my real life? Because moving to a new country, at least 6 months is going to take you to just understand basics, right? To understand how the country operates. Not even talking about learning language, and definitely not Polish. So you're going to have to look forward more than just what the country is now, but what the country you expect it to be in 6, 12, 24 months at the very least. Now I'm going to tell you more about Poland and my opinions about other places based on that, right? One of the common mistakes about deciding where to go is to follow the crowd. And in business, that is a good experience I had in the business, is generally do not follow the crowd, because crowd is usually wrong. Crowd is easily to steer. You know, when you got individuals and you talk to them, they seem to be okay, they seem to be smart, common sense, right? And then you put all of these individuals together in the crowd, and then they behave weird, right? They can do weird stuff. Then they do things they wouldn't do normally on their own. And you can see the same thing on the internet when people comment on my, you know, on the YouTube videos anonymous, as an anonymous, without showing their faces and names. And this crowd thing, that's where they can say nasty things to people and do nasty, stupid things, where normally in normal life they would never do it, right? So you see, Poland became this hot country right now. It's one of those hot countries. It's where the crowd thinks gold is, right? This is where everybody wants to go, because now is great. But the hot countries normally means this is a peak time, okay? This is a time when they pick. And when I moved to England, I think that was a peak England. So I did that mistake myself. I work it out okay, right? But you will understand in a second. So Poland peak time. So, you know, Poland they've had an amazing run, okay, for the last 35 plus years. Amazing run. It's just incredible growth, crazy expansion. You know, everybody's getting money, everybody's just happy, clean, safe. It's amazing, right? A whole world is talking about this. But that's exactly the problem, because for the 35 years, the country was going up, climbing up. When I moved to England, the country was climbing up until I came. I don't think it's my fault, okay? That country started going down around that time. It was just coincidence. And then things started going slowly down. So when you got 35 years of incredible growth, right? Think about it, what are the likely potential scenarios in the future? It's very, very unlikely that Poland is going to have another 35 years of rapid growth, okay? It is more likely, statistically, and that's my business experience and life experience, it's more likely that within the next 5 years, Poland will, the trend will turn, and Poland will start going down for whatever the reason. I can give you all the reasons in a second, but there will be, it's just statistically, right? You can't have, nothing is forever, right? Nothing good, nothing bad lasts forever. And there's no countries going up for 35 years without some troubles, right? And unless you are an empire, like an American empire, British empire back in the day, like that period lasts 100, 200, 300 years, but it's never straight up line. It just goes up, a bit down, up, a bit down. The trend is up, right? That's for the empires, but Poland is nowhere near to be an empire. So if you get a country, hot country like Poland, where it's in the very historically very bad place geographically because of the clashes between East and West. And then on top of it, you have a country which is not serious because of the leadership and politicians and decisions they were making for the last 35 years when there was a good times. That indicates to me strongly that there are problems ahead, okay? And remember what I told you, like I'm not looking at it, if I would be moving to a country, I wouldn't be looking at where the country is now today, because by the time I settle down, the country might be completely different place, right? And then you have on top of it like a mainstream narrative. When you see in the mainstream media, and this goes, you probably know this, right? When on the media, in the media, you say everybody's saying, oh, invest into this asset or stock or something, and then everybody invests, then normally what happens if things goes down, because the big fish, the shark, you know, the big players, they knew it in advance. They wanted to suck money out of average person, so that's why they hyped it up on the media, and then they just pull the rug, and that's normally what happens. So when I see everybody's talking about Poland as being a hot country, my sense tells me there's something coming. How I would evaluate a country, okay? So knowing to what I just said, first of all, I would look at the cycle, okay? And for me, I think the cycle would be for somewhere about I think 10 years would be fair. So I don't want to go like 100-year cycle. No, I don't want to be like Chinese planning for like 500 years ahead, which probably is smart, but we're not going to do it. I would look more like 10 years. From now on, in 10 years, what's likely scenario for the country? If we would talk about Poland, in my opinion, 10 years, Poland will get, and the best case scenario, Poland's economic growth will slow down dramatically because of the EU's problems, fights within EU's, rapid expansion of China, conflict with Ukraine and Russia, the immigrations across Poland increasing, and also, which is very important, countries like Poland are not prepared to deal with these problems, okay, because they were so good over the last 35 years. They kind of get used to. Whether in the UK, for example, on the other hand, because we've been going through some downfall, right, over the last 10, 15, 20 years, we kind of learn how to deal with it, at least not to the extreme point. We don't, but we've seen riots, we've seen immigrants in and out, we've seen all of it, and we kind of know how to deal with it. We don't like it, it's not great, but we know how to react. In Poland, they don't know how to react. They just started defending their own borders, the citizens deployed themselves to borders because there was no, force, army or like border control or anything, right? So it's very difficult how we can react. So in my opinion, Poland in 10 years will be definitely, in my opinion, again, I'm not an advisor or anything, I'm just talking about my opinions here. I see much more likely downside, Poland going down rather than just continuing this uptrend. That is the best case scenario. In the UK, on the other hand, because we've been through the 15 years of decline, we got to the point, if you live in the UK, you probably know it, where people are so angry now. It's got to the boiling point where we are just about to turn a corner, I think. That last straw which broke camel's back. I think we are around that time now. And you can see it in politics. That's why Labour did 180 on their core politics around immigration, and that's why you see people just getting angry, and that's why Reform UK is gaining power because of that. I'm watching these things. So for me, 10 years from now, and the UK might still go for another 2-3 years of troubles, right? But if we get past that 2-3 years, very likely we will start upward trend. And I'm not talking about being empire again, but we're just rebuilding sort of trust. People just we deal with the problems. 3 years later, we just, okay, let's start again and put the taxes down, bring people with money, start businesses, all of these amazing things which build a country, communities, and wealth. The very important part to understand is when you want to move a country or you want to get into a business or investment, again, I'm not investor. I have to say that I think so. I don't know. People keep saying on Intel, this is not financial advice, and then they give you financial advice. I'm not advising you anything. Just don't make your life decisions based on Polish guy in the garden talking about, right? You can listen to me, you can agree or disagree, but just make your own decisions. If I was me, I would look for the places to enter, let's say moving to a new country, just before the recovery. Right, so the UK for me would be probably one of the places I would look if I want to stay within Europe, that area, or if I want to move further. Like people sometimes ask me in the comments, Argentina, like that would be it, right? That would be places I would be looking and considering moving into, because the recovery is going to start over the next 2-3 years, in my opinion. Therefore, I'll have enough time to settle down, to get my basics sorted. Maybe learn some English, some culture, maybe make some few friends, some connections, and just get some simple job, because if you're moving into a new country, you're going to have to start from the bottom most likely, right? So you're going to have to, that is the time, that is the cushion, which will allow you to get ready for when the times turn, right? When the table turn, or turn a corner. And if you're moving in during a boom, when something is hot, you are risking that every single year, every second year, every next year is the time when things also turn around, but going down, right? Think about this. You all have heard about this when it comes to investment. This is exactly the same principle, in my opinion, when it comes to moving to a different place, especially in today's geopolitical situation, today's world, because normally things are following the economy. Countries up, downfalls, like good times for your countries, bad times, right? It follows the economy, sentiment, and how people think. So I give you a few key signals to watch. I would watch if I were to change the place where I am. economic indicators, as I said, right? The real growth. We're not talking about, oh, look, Poland has discovered oil. I think that was yesterday. Okay, but that's going to take like 10 years at least. And I know Polish culture, political culture and all of that, it's probably not going to happen. Or the Americans are going to come and just dig it out and they'll take it. It's going to take 10 years until Polish government can see, or Polish people can see a pound or penny or Polish zloty coming out of this oil. Okay, so I'm talking about growth now, the real growth. So if things bottomed, that is very likely the growth is going to go up. It has to turn around. When you have a growth for 35 years in Poland, like massive growth, one of the best in the world, how much longer do you think that growth is going to last? And why? Because you have to look at the growth, what is driving Polish economy? It's there's no innovation there, right? We don't have Teslas. We're not producing robots, AIs. And that's the future, right? Tech, AI, robotics. We don't do innovate. We are very good at making money or somehow getting by, finding solutions to problems. But that is not the future of the country as a whole. There's no big businesses in Poland, Polish businesses, right? Very important to understand this, very important. Next one is internal stability. And think about Poland now. I think we have a literal war on our border, like the eastern border with Ukraine. And that conflict is nowhere near finishing, right? It's actually getting to a place where we don't know what's going to happen next. And Polish people's sentiment is we don't feel like, but we do feel like it might actually spill across, right? So NATO is not stable, all this talk behind us, how strong we are as a NATO, it's yeah, well, maybe, but maybe not. We all can feel it, right? So internal stability, another factor I would look at is it's against Poland. There's no stability, it's stability now, but it's very fragile. It can go any moment. The next one I wrote down is a brain drain or brain gain. So generally speaking, the sentiment I see from people watching my channel and people I talk to, normally the people my age and older would want to go back to Poland or go to Poland, move to Poland to start over, right? It's great, but long-term growth for the country, we need younger people to go back. If there was massive influx of English, young people going back to Poland or going to Poland to start again over, that would be much better indicator, much better signal to move over there rather than having people who are retired and they want to go there to just stay for the sake of, because it's safe and nice, right? You understand? I understand the nature of it, I know why. But rather than having 40, 50, 60 years old moving there, it would be better to have 20, 30 years old moving there. And that's not exactly what I see. Property prices and income ratio is the next one. And although Poland is Polish people making much more money, Poland is getting much richer, the difference in earnings are still big, especially in the smaller towns. Polish people still can't afford properties, especially in the bigger towns, and it's not as great looking long term. Okay, it has peaked, I think, in my opinion. And the last one I would look into is a youth outlook versus immigration level. So again, that's similar to what I said about brain gain. Especially about immigration. The immigration we're getting in Poland is there's a lot of Ukrainians because of the conflict, and there's millions of them. And then we are now getting lots of illegals thrown over the border from Germany, and this is just the beginning of a trend, in my opinion. So that trend is not looking promising for Poland. It's not optimistic, okay, for Poland. It's kind of it's another problem to deal with on top of all other problems. I'll give you the quick case. Although I mentioned it, I'm just going to summarize the Poland versus UK case study. And this is, Poland has had 35 years of insane growth. This is not sustainable in the long term, unless you are a China. Poland is not China. We have no innovation. There's not enough big businesses and money coming in order for Poland to stay on course, right? It's easier to start innovating and grow from nothing to 10 than from 10 to 50, and then from 50 to 100, right, on the scale. The UK, we've had this downside. We already know how to deal with problems, more likely, and if we have to go through another 2-3 years of challenges, we are well better prepared mentally, at least mentally, than Poles, which will probably be shocked when things start going down. Say, hang on, how is that? We've been told it was so great, it's going to be great again. And then something happens, and Polish people they just got so good, it got too comfortable. Where then England, we just got used to the shitness. So when something improves a little bit, it's like, yay, thank you, right? We appreciate this more. And that's why I think this could be that time for people staying in the UK to stay in the UK, for living in the UK to stay. You see, if everyone says go there, I normally would say probably not, or stay put, think about it, think it through, because the time might not be now. It's like an investment, right? They say buy low, sell high. It's a similar thing when it comes to changing a country, starting a new life. So I'll tell you what, if I had to move out, what country would I choose? I would look into the undervalued and not overhyped countries. Like if I had to stay in Europe, I would probably look into Bulgaria and Romania, although I've never been there. And when I was a kid, they were like really bad places to go. And I think right now they're doing much, much better. And I think they're not as hyped as Poland. I think they still have lots of similar values. And I would consider moving there. Although I had never been there, I don't know. I would look into it, right? Anywhere further, I would probably look into South America, like Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay. It looks interesting. Again, I've never been to any of these countries, but I would consider that. And maybe even Africa, or some parts of Africa. I think this could be quite interesting. I'll leave you with this now, because I think it's enough to digest. But think about this that way. If something is very hot, if everybody likes it, praising it, consider why. And look at anything, whenever you want to move, look at the long term. Long term. You don't look at where the country is now, where the country is going to be 5 years, 10 years later, because that's the time where you're going to start actually leaving there. When you move in, you've got like 2 years of hustle, building your basics, learning stuff, documents, office, going here, there, signing this, renting property, setting up accounts and all of that. That's another 2 years in Poland. Do you think it's going to get that much better over the next 5 years? I doubt it. I wish I'm wrong, but I think I'm not. If you like this video, please hit me a like. Consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for your time and support. Really appreciate that. I'm so happy that you guys are enjoying my content. If you want me to talk about anything else, let me know. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. Please be respectful. And yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Cheers.